Hello, I am Jacob Joseph. I am an ethnodoxologist serving God in India. India is a country with tremendous diversity in language, culture, religion, arts, and people groups. Past many years, it was a focal point of missions, and some of the greatest mission organizations and missionaries served in this nation. Christianity has a history of around 2000 years in our land, and it believed that St. Thomas brought gospel to India. But even after all these years of wonderful Christian history, Christianity is perceived as the Western religion, and Christians are thought as foreigners or people with Western interests by many people. Contextualization in missions and worship are discussed in seminaries, but church could never get rid of its Western identity. One of the major reasons for this struggle is due to the strong roots in Western Christianity and also church's negative attitude towards indigenous arts, especially music. I came across many worship gatherings who do not use any musical instruments in worship, while many indigenous musicians are seated in the congregation. When God called me into this worship and music training, all I thought was just to develop a Western music training program and to develop more professional Western musicians. But God had different plans. God opened a door for me to meet Chris Hale, and I had to experience indigenous music using our heart music, and it was an eye-opener for me. Following that, he directed me to GCON, and that changed my life forever. After that, I got some training in ethnomusicology from Payap University and also got my ABF training. My passion is to teach the people in Bible colleges and seminaries to actually attempt contextualization of worship and also experience contextualized worship. Our primary work is in the area of training indigenous worship leaders in theological seminaries context to develop passion for indigenous arts in worship. One of the major struggles in India is to get training in Indian music without undergoing other Hindu religious rituals. Our worship and music training programs are a venue where they can learn Indian music and other indigenous instruments in a Christian atmosphere. God used me and some of my colleagues in New Theological College to start the first of its kind church music program affiliated by Serampur University, and several young women and men are trained through this program doing amazing work. I recently came across one of our graduates who are working in the western part of India known as Rajasthan. He contacted me a few days ago and he said, "Sir, when you initially taught this course in the college, I thought it is useful only in theory and it is never can be practiced in a mission context." But he had an amazing experience of meeting an indigenous instrumentalist in his area, and he invited him to church, and that changed everything for that congregation. He suddenly felt the people of his congregation enjoying the worship so deeply, and they are engaged so deeply in worship. And not only that, the whole church windows were filled with people from the neighborhood who are not Christians. As soon as this man started playing this instrument and sing songs in their style, the people just from the surrounding area just filled those windows and they just wanted to listen. And he said it was one of the most amazing things that ever happened. Some of our graduates have written first ever Christian song written in their mother tongue. Some of the people have written almost like 30 psalms were written in their mother tongue, which probably not have any Christian song written ever in their history. Many of them were worshipping, and one of the tribe in northeast India, they said they always use Hindi as their worship language because they thought like it is not worth singing in their language. But this student of a graduate of ours have gone back and started writing psalms, and they started singing them, and people love them because they can worship God in their heart language using their heart music. God is doing an amazing work here with indigenous music. I hope it will become a movement in the church where throughout India the church will have a passion to develop Indian church not just for the mission's sake, but for worship, to worship God in their heart language, using their heart music, so that they can closely worship God. And it may bring out an indigenous missions for our country. That's my prayer for our nation. Please do pray for us. Thank you.